am the least racist person. The least racist person that you've ever seen. I'm the least racist person in this room, with the exception of Abraham Lincoln, possible exception, but the exception of Abraham Lincoln, nobody has done what I've done. Look at my African American over here.
Tonight, just days after posting and then deleting a racist video depicting the Obamas as apes, which he has still not apologized for, Donald Trump took to social media to assure Americans he has black friends. On Truth Social, he posted videos of himself alongside Mike Tyson, Oprah Winfrey, Michael Jackson, among other celebrities. Here is just one of those posts. That settles it then. Nothing more to say here.
Most of those pictures are from the 80s? Or what
A lot of
those
black
pictures
friends.
I mean, Michael Jackson is in there.
I met Donald Trump only one time at a cocktail party. He was coming to speak to the people I was talking to. Turned around, he's there, he introduced himself. The first and only thing is that I don't think you know who I was at the time. Black people love me. That's what he's literally. He goes into this speech about he is the most liked person among black people. Everywhere he goes, black people are trying to convince him to run for office. And the only names he gave me were the names of celebrities. I went back to the Times and wrote about it immediately because what are you talking about? Who are you talking to?
Okay,
Thank you for your service.
What are you talking about?
Can I just make a tiny counterpoint to that, which is there was a time when Donald Trump, back in the 80s, hung around with Mike Tyson. He hung around with Don King.
This is the same decade when he was
and he was in all these rap songs. I mean, he was, because he was this cultural figure who was perceived as rich and successful. There was like a cultural cachet there, which is not the same thing as him
trying to become president.
being exonerated from the racist video and all the other stuff.
Well, let's flash up from the bottom.
But I will say, like,
That's what it was. Flash you up from the bottom.
Flash you from the bottom. During Black History Month, we're having this conversation, which is actually quite ironic, but you raise a good point. It was fine when he was over there just being a curator of culture, and it was kind of cool, whatever, to have him in your rap video. But a lot of people in New York, including somebody who's in that video, like Reverend Al Sharpton, they constantly talk about the lawsuits against him and his housing lawsuits, what happened with the Central Park Five. I want to be very clear, if we think about what's happening right now, he disinvited the only black governor from the governor's meeting in the White House. He is actually championing a bill that actually would take voting rights away from a lot of black people in this country, all during Black History Month, and then called the president, the first black president and the first lady, monkeys and apes in this during this month. So this doesn't absolve Donald Trump of his racism. We all know exactly who he is. The reality is the conversation and the question should be, why do people continue to support him if they don't want us to believe they are okay with racism?
Wait, what voting rights is he taking away from black voters?
Oh, if we look at
say that?
let's say that. That's exactly what we're talking about. That is actually going to continue to disenfranchise overwhelmingly a lot of people of color. There are so many civil rights organizations that have run the data. If we look at the way that it is going to disenfranchise black voters, it's the same reason why Chuck Schumer called it Jim Crow 2.0.
So
it's the same president. If we want to continue,
you haven't said how yet.
I am talking about it. It's the way that you're putting new poll taxes on this when you're making people have. That's what we can call them now. It's kind of an idiom, right? If you want to say that people have to prove that they are citizens, that they have to prove with a voter ID, the reality is you're layering what is a constitutional right for the American people and making it harder for people to vote in this country, and it's going to disenfranchise black voters.
Concern you that you're making all these claims, you've yet to lay out how it's hurting anyone, but 76% of black voters think we should show an ID to vote. 80% of Hispanic voters, 83% of the American people. Are you saying that black voters
The
are
SAVE
too
Act
dumb to
isn't
know what's
just.
good for them? I
The
mean, it
SAVE Act
sounds
isn't
pretty,
just about.
sounds pretty condescending to me.
The
That's
SAVE
not
Act
You
is
get
not
3/4
just
of black
about
voters.
IDs.
That is not
The want
Right.
voter ID.
But
Just to
that's
be
not-
clear, the SAFE Act
that's
is
your
not
freedom
just
of
about
expression.
ideas. The SAFE Act is about
So what?
of citizenship.
So what?
It doesn't. I actually.
It also
we
makes it very
talked-
hard for
we talked
married
about
women
this.
who
I
change
was
their
just gonna
last
say,
name.
we
This is
talked
all
about this
young
before.
by the way.
It's not. It actually, there's an argument to be made that red state voters, women, poor white voters could be just
I
as.
know, you think they're dumb too, don't you?
Yeah,
I mean, that's the thing. I hear
Nobody-
these,
nobody
I
thinks
hear
they're
these
dumb.
arguments, I've
Scott,
heard
hold on,
Democrats all
hold on,
week long.
Scott. No,
What?
please don't. No, you listen.
There's a distinction from
Please
talking
don't
about
say
Donald
that.
Trump's racism
I'm actually
right
talking,
there.
you should be thinking about your constituents or your
Yeah, I think they're smart enough to figure out how to
colleagues in
register to vote.
Kentucky.
Abby.
Hold on. Most Americans don't have a passport. Many Americans don't have access to their birth certificate. Many women, a majority of women who change their names for marriage
Listen,
have to provide additional proof
All
that
week
they've
long,
changed their
all
legal
week long,
names in
I have
order to
heard-
register to
I have
vote.
heard
So
Democrats
Scott, why
make
don't
these
you
same
actually
arguments.
respond to the substance of what I'm
I
saying?
am, and the
As
substance
opposed
is
to
this.
making
You're
this about something
saying,
that it's not.
you're
It's
saying,
not just
you're
about
saying
voter ID,
married
it's
women,
also about
black
who has
voters,
access
and rural people
to-
are too stupid to figure out how to register to
Excuse me?
No,
vote.
that's
No,
not.
that is not what
Democrats
it
are
is.
making
That
this
is
argument
so
so
offensive.
offensive.
That is not what she
offensive.
said.
Let
Are you
me
saying
offer
they
the
can't
proof.
figure out how
Let
to
me
vote?
offer. Let me offer
I'm
the
Are you
proof.
saying they can't
This
figure
is
out how
the
to vote?
exact same
I'm saying it
argument.
is a fact that a majority of Americans do not have passports. Many Americans, including white people, okay, do not have their original birth certificate or access.
You didn't say what you said rural.
I
white
would
people.
love to offer the proof of this.
Yeah, because that is also relevant. It doesn't matter to me where people
I guess I
live.
have a little more faith in
Do they have
rural
access?
America and married women than you.
Hold on, I don't
And
know
you're saying they can't
why
figure out how to vote?
you think
What
why
is
you're
going
making
on
this
here?
about whether you're smart or not.
You're
Access
saying that they can't
to-
vote, that they
access to
can't figure out how to
Stop.
document to register to
Stop.
vote?
Access to documentation of proof of where you were born or proof of citizenship is an additional thing that people
Because it
have
looks
to
like
do.
This is
black
such
people
a-
actually
She
want
described
to
it as a
vote.
barrier to
This is
vote.
a barrier.
It is a barrier.
This
So
is
you have
this
to-
is
Scott, do you have your
exactly.
original birth certificate?
Yes,
Okay.
This-
But
this
at one
is-
point, black
Does
people
everybody
were
that
allowed
you know
to
have their
register
original
in
birth
this country.
certificate?
everybody that I know.
Yeah.
I don't know,
I mean,
but I know where mine is,
there-
and I know where
there
my
are
kids are.
There are elderly people in this country who are 80 years old and they haven't seen their original birth certificate in decades. They would need to
This is-
provide
this is
proof of
fear-mongering.
citizenship in
It is
order
not
to
fear mongering at
vote.
all. It's not
That's
fear
not-
mongering at
that's
all.
just a
It's
reality.
not fear mongering
And
at all.
listen,
Jim Crow
here's how-
2.0.
Scott,
They said that about the Georgia
Scott,
law, and what happened? Voter participation
Scott,
went
But
up.
I
Here's
really want to
how
answer why you
policy-
still support a
here's
racist
how policy
president
is
is
supposed to
actually
work in this
the
country.
problem.
And by the
You
way,
have a proposal, you look at the impacts of it, and you decide whether it's the right thing or the wrong thing to do. I think it is perfectly fair, whether you think that it disproportionately affects people of color or not, to ask the question, will a majority of Americans who want to be able to vote be able to access the documents that they would need
Yes, I
in
think
order
yes.
to prove
Clearly.
But
citizenship?
Abby, you're asking
That's
the
your
underlying
view, but I'm
question,
saying
which is
people have to raise
impact.
questions
The,
about it.
the reason that it works this way is impact. You mentioned Jim Crow 2.0.
No, I
What you,
Schumer, that's
well,
what
you
Schumer
just said the words Jim Crow 2.0, so I'm going to put it right here at the moment. And that is exactly the way that Jim Crow 1.0 was born. They took laws
Democrats were wild.
well, yeah, I will finish. And they took laws that were operational in the North, and they said these work on by the in the letter, but we're going to disrupt the spirit. They're going to take
We
these
gotta go
laws
really-
and use them on black people in the South
All right.
to disenfranchise them, and that was the effect.
Everyone, thank you very much. We will be back in just a moment.